So Warner Brothers announced that they'll be releasing 17 movies to HBO Max for 1 month each, and at the exact same time, these movies will also be released in movie theaters. Movies like Dune, or Suicide Squad 2, or The Matrix 4 that's coming out. And the almighty Christopher Nolan, he doesn't like this. So then Christopher Nolan proceeds to release this statement. Some of our industry's biggest filmmakers and most important movie stars went to bed the night before thinking that they're working for the greatest movie studio and woke up to find out they're working for the worst streaming service. Warner Brothers had an incredible machine for getting filmmakers work out everywhere, both in theaters and in home, and they're dismantling as we speak. They don't even understand what they're losing. The decision makes no economic sense, and even the most casual Wall Street investor can see the difference between disruption and dysfunction. Chris, come on. Hold up for just a second. Saying that HBO Max is the worst streaming service because some executives made some risky, possibly stupid decisions is like saying the Dark Knight trilogy is the worst trilogy because they were played in AMC movie theaters. I fully understand where Christopher's anger is coming from, and I also fully support saving the movie theater industry because it's my home away from home. And I miss it. But don't direct your anger at the streaming service itself. Call out the motherfuckers at the executive level that made the deals and signed the contracts and made the decisions. I guarantee Christopher Nolan personally knows some of those dudes that made those decisions. Why isn't he calling them out by name? If you're already gonna be ballsy enough to call out HBO Max, just call out the motherfuckers themselves. It sounds like all these studios bumped all these movies to 2021 thinking they could possibly still make billions on them, then halfway through 2020 started making new movies that they also planned on releasing in 2021, and then started to realize, oh shit, we're not gonna make $1 billion on every movie anymore. And these men, in their desperation, turned to a system that they didn't fully understand. Stupid move? Yeah, probably, but it makes sense for executives to want to make some quick cash while they're already losing money. And it just also makes sense that some asshole would try to advance his career by pulling a fast one on the directors and the producers and the creatives. You can't blame HBO Max for a decision that executives made. See what I'm saying? His anger is pointed in the wrong direction. The odds that people would have been comfortable enough to see these movies in the theaters in 2021 were already pretty slim. This is something that Christopher Nolan should already be aware of. Executives will always chase the money, and streaming services is where the money's at right now because people are at home. Christopher Nolan, be mad at the executives, not HBO Max. HBO Max is providing quality entertainment for everyone at home, while you are sitting in a mansion somewhere thinking about time travel and writing the best movies ever. Let's just calm down, okay? This leads us into my review of HBO Max. I have been doing my best to catch up on HBO Max's original content because I knew eventually I'd review the streaming service. And then Christopher Nolan had his little temper tantrum, so I figured this is as good a time as any to make this video. HBO has a bad history with streaming services. They had a very rough go with HBO Now and HBO Go leading into HBO Max. It was convoluted and confusing, so what they tried to do is fix it by roping everything into HBO Max to make it one large streaming service. And I gotta say, it's good. It's really good. Over all the years that HBO's been around, they've kept all their content very close to the chest. They were very careful about what they released to Netflix and Hulu over time. If customers are consuming their content, they want to be paid for it. HBO has made this very clear over the years. And that's because HBO has had some of the greatest entertainment on TV for like, what, 35 years? Quality TV shows, quality documentaries, quality sports. So now with HBO Max, you have access to all that shit. If I want to watch The Sopranos, I can just throw it on. If I don't feel like watching The Sopranos, I can just throw on The Wire. If I feel like pausing The Wire, throwing on some True Blood, I can do that. If I want to watch Game of Thrones, I can watch that. If I want to watch an HBO documentary series from the early 90s, I can do that. HBO Max grants you this access to their catalog of shit. In fact, the oldest thing I was able to find on there just from scrolling through was like a documentary from 1988. That's 32 years of quality HBO produced content. That alone is worth the price. It's like, what, $15 a month? And if you already have HBO included with your cable, it includes HBO Max. So, no brainer right there. Okay, HBO Max original content. From the stuff that I've watched, it's fine. It's not the quality that I expect from HBO shows, but it's entertaining enough to keep me happy. And keep in mind, the HBO originals is all like new stuff, and there's enough of it that I've had a really hard time catching up. Let's do some just rapid fire reviews of things that I have watched. American Pickle. Gotta say, I was disappointed. Great concept, but the execution of it didn't do it for me. Seth Rogen is in it, but I don't believe he had anything to do with producing it or directing it or writing it. It's somebody else that I don't think I've heard of. So it's a comedy that only made me laugh like 2 times, and it's pretty easy to make me laugh. Chelsea Handler Evolution. Considering Chelsea Handler hasn't done stand-up for 6 years, this is not a bad stand-up special. She's hilarious, and she's got some big balls for saying some of the shit that she says. She definitely says things that other comics would be afraid to say. That's worth a watch. Class Action Park. This one is nuts. It's a documentary about a real-life theme park from the 70s that was notorious for the injuries that children had while they were there. And the people they're interviewing in this documentary are like comedians that used to be kids that went to this theme park, and they're just reflecting on all the crazy shit that went on there. And yeah, there were some deaths. It's just kind of unbelievable that a place like that existed. I really enjoyed that documentary. Expecting Amy. Amy Schumer and her husband filmed her entire pregnancy, documentary style, and they show how terrible of a pregnancy she had. It was surprisingly educational and surprisingly hilarious. I think this made me laugh more than any of her stand-up specials, that's for sure. Her husband is also like the best human being ever. He's great. The Fresh Prince reunion. A nice little trip down memory lane with the Fresh Prince, Will Smith, and the Fresh Prince crew. I'd say it's definitely worth a watch if you were a fan back in the day. Shout out to the 90s kids. The Heaven's Gate Cult documentary. The largest mass suicide on American soil, and they did a great job of explaining everything that happened and why. Considering the impact of what this cult had at the end, they were surprisingly peaceful and really bad at marketing themselves. And for once, it's a cult that's not aimed at taking advantage of women. Great documentary series. Check it out. Raised by Wolves. I reviewed that. Link in description. It's pretty good. The Witches. I reviewed that. I fucking hated it. Link in the description. And the last thing that I saw was Unpregnant. It was a pretty good, predictable road trip movie that had some good laughs. It's fine. It was fine. This app itself also has so much more content than just HBO or HBO Max original content. HBO just jacked itself up by purchasing all this other shit. They got DC Universe content with TV shows and movies, Turner Classic Movies, Adult Swim shows, the Studio fucking Ghibli movies, Cartoon Network, Sesame Street, Looney Tunes, and they even got some anime from Crunchyroll. And mostly what's been deterring me from the HBO Max original content is that stuff. There's so much to consume. HBO Max, for the amount, variety, and quality of content, automatically bumps it to the top of the list. Not to mention the libraries are very well organized. They make it easy to find shit. That automatically makes it better than Hulu and Funimation and Shudder. It's user-friendly, and it's the closest video player app that I've seen to YouTube. Obviously, YouTube is still the best video player app, but HBO Max isn't too far behind, and I kind of love that. I don't think I'll ever catch up on all the stuff that I can watch. And what I do choose to watch, I can easily find. And that is a good feeling. Don't fully listen to Chris. He's just upset and he's lashing out at the wrong thing. Even excluding the 17 movies that he's mad about, you will never run out of quality entertainment. And it's definitely worth the price. So, HBO Max, get it. I absolutely recommend it. Okay? See ya. Subscribe!